The next thing that you might get asked in coordinate geometry will involve the slope of a line, right? In terms of your slope, there's different ways of working it out. You can work it out by using the idea of rise over run. So rise stands for the vertical change, so how much the line went up by, over the run, how long, what was the horizontal change, so how far across did it go. Okay, so that's one way of working it out. Another way of working it out is using the actual coordinates, so a formula, and that formula is given in the log tables on page 18. And this is the one which is represented by m, so don't mix it up a midpoint. So the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And again, in terms of your point, the points are going from left to right on the page. Or the third way you can get a slope is they've actually given you a line equation. We will discuss that later, and then you rearrange the line equation to solve it. So what we're going to focus on is using the coordinate geometry formula. Okay, so the method to do it, like before, is label your points, plug them into the formula, and solve them. In terms of points of interest to do with slope, if you have a flat line, it means it has no slope, so the m would be equal to 0. If you have an uphill line, your m is positive. A downhill line, your m is negative. Right? And perpendicular, the slopes would be opposite. And in terms of opposite, by that I mean that you can multiply them by each other and you get -1. Or another way of saying that they're opposite is if you think of them or imagine them as fractions, and you have one fraction and the perpendicular is the same fraction upside down with its sign changed. So for example, if you had the slope of a line being 2, positive 2, the slope of its perpendicular line would be -0.5. Okay, and parallel lines, their slopes are the same. Right, so I'm just going to jump to the book to show you a few examples. Right, so we're in Test and Text, page 57, and the example it says if A is equal to 3 minus 1 and B is equal to 5, 2, find the slope of the line AB. So your method would be label your points. So your 3 minus 1 you would label as x1, y1. Your 5, 2 you'd label as x2, y2. You plug them into the formula and then you solve it. When you solve it, make sure you take note of signs. Alright, so when you solve it and you add your top, you go 2 plus 1, which gave you 3. Your bottom, you have 5 minus 3, which gave you 2. So the slope is 3 over 2. So if you drew that picture, you would expect that line to be going uphill. Example 2. It has the point A, B, C, and D. It says there are 4 points, and it wants to show that AB is perpendicular to CD. So showing something is perpendicular to another line means find the slopes. So you get the slope from A to B, so you'd write down your points A and B. You'd label them x1, y1, x2, y2. You'd write the formula for slope down, and then you plug them into the formula. So you get 2 minus 0 over 3 plus 1. Work out the top, so you get 2. Work out the bottom, you get 4. So that slope is equal to 1/2. You do the exact same for the slope of C and D. So again, write down your points. Label your points x1, y1, x2, y2. Write the formula down. Plug them into the formula. And when you plug them into the formula and solve it this time, you get -2. So -2, if you imagine it as a fraction, is -2 over 1. So if you have one being 1/2 and it's positive half and one being -2 over 1, you note that they are both opposite to each other. So that's one way of realizing that they're perpendicular. But the final step in an exam is you multiply your two slopes together and you get -1. Alright, so if we have a look in the book and we find question 11 on page 59, it has A being a point, B, C, and D. It wants you to find the slope of AB, find the slope of CD, and then verify that AB, straight line, sine, CD. This means perpendicular. So we're going to quickly do that one. So your method is you write down the points. So we have minus 1, 1, 1, 3, 6, 2, and 4, 4. We want to get the slope of AB, and then we want to show that AB is perpendicular to CD. And that's your A, B, C, and D. Right. So the method to do that is we have our points A and B. You're going to label them x1, y1, x2, y2. We want to get the slope, so you write your slope formula down. So your slope formula is your y's over your 1. So you've got y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Plug the values in. So you've got 3 take away 1 over 1 take away 1. So 3 take away 1 is equal to 2. And 1 take away 1 is the same as 1 plus 1, which is 2. So the slope of that is 1. Okay. You want to get the slope of CD. So again, you have your points. Label them. So x1, y1, x2, y2. Write your formula down. So you've got y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. Plug the values in. So we are ignoring these this time. So you can imagine scribbling them out so you don't mix up your values. We're going y2, so you're getting 4 take away 2 over 4 take away 6. So 4 take away 2 is equal to 2. 4 take away 6 is equal to negative 2. So you end up getting a minus 1. Alright, so in terms of that, if you go 1 times minus 1, do you get minus 1? And we do. So because we get minus 1, we know that they are perpendicular. Okay, and that will be that one done. If you look at question 15 on the book, it says the line L contains these 2 points, the line M contains these 2 points. Find the slope of L, find in terms of K the slope of M, and then if L is parallel to M, find the value of K. Alright, so we're going to quickly do that one. Alright, so we have your line L contains the point minus 2, 0, and 4, 3. So we want to get its slope. So in terms of slope, label them x1, y1, x2, y2. You'd write your formula down. You'd plug the values into your formula. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you're getting 3 over 6, which is the same as a half, and that's our slope of L. The point M has the values 1, minus 1, and K, 1. And again, you want to find its slope. So in terms of this, you go through the method exactly as before. You label your points. You treat your K like a number. So you don't change anything. You still are following the same method. You get the slope formula. So it's your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Plug the values in. So you would go 1 take away 1 over k take away 1. So when you're solving that, you would get 2 over k take away 1. Okay? And then the last part, it says if L is parallel to M. So if they're parallel, it means they're equal to each other. So for that, you let them equal to each other. So you go 2k minus 1 is equal to 1 over 2. So you have a fraction equal to a fraction. So to get rid of the fractions, you're going to cross multiply across your equal sign. So 2 by 2 gives you 4. And 1 times k gives you k, 1 times minus 1 gives you minus 1. So we have this linear equation, and you're going to solve it. So k is equal to 4 plus 1. So k is equal to 5. Okay? And that's how you calculate slope using points.